The Tone Dome. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're sorry for the late start here. Power outage in Canada, my home and native land. Anyway, Brandon here. Welcome to episode 6 of the Tone Dome. Joined by Sam, of course, and our very special guest, someone who's meant a lot to me for my last year of my undergrad, and someone who I'm sure will mean a lot to Sam's growth as he progresses through his master's degree, and that is Michelle Baker. Michelle, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Good. How are you doing?
Good. It's so nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been really excited for this chat, so
Yeah, we are.
let's get right to it.
Okay, let's do it.
So
Awesome.
we kind of start off with a little game that we play.
I'm aware.
You're aware. You've seen some prior podcasts. Okay, well, we're gonna play a Mad Lib. So I'm just gonna ask you random things and be creative, and we'll see what we come up with. All right. So first of all, I need a color and an animal, and they're gonna go together, so you can be fun with it, I guess.
Well, what came to mind was pink dog.
Pink dog. Okay.
Or should we say pink shih tzu?
Pink shit. Even better. Yes. Okay. A teacher's name in your history that you adore or just love.
Oh, that I adore. Julie.
Okay. The opera. Let's see. Tempo. Like a tempo marking, like in Italian. You know what I mean? Like adagio or adagio. Like
I see. Something that I like. Well, I'll say adagio. I like playing slow solos.
Okay. I gave you the answer to that one.
You did.
That's
That's okay, but that's probably what I would have said.
Okay. Your favorite childhood toy?
Chrissy doll.
Chrissy?
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy doll.
I'm old. You probably don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but I will be looking
it
it
up
up
later.
I will. Yes, absolutely. All right, just a nice adjective now.
Lovely.
Another one. This is where the creativity comes in.
Yeah.
The adjectives are hard.
Is happy an adjective? No.
Happy's in that. Yeah.
Okay, happy.
So.
Happy.
All right, Brandon, you get the adjective this time. I want you to give an adjective.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I want you to participate in this one.
Sure. All right. No worries. Adjective. What is an adjective?
It's like a descriptive
word.
like a descriptive word. Yeah. Like...
I went to performing arts high school, so.
I know, right? How are we supposed to know this stuff?
The jubilant.
Jubilant.
Wow.
Nice. He went from not knowing what an adjective is to jubilant.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right, a plural noun, Michelle.
Plural noun. Grandchildren.
Grandchildren. Okay. All right. Another adjective.
Let's say pretty.
Pretty.
I'm not as fancy as Brandon.
No.
A verb.
Was.
Was? Wait, what'd you say?
Is that a verb? Was?
Is it?
Is.
Is.
What's or is? What's a verb? Yeah, if you say the pink dog is cute.
No, totally. Totally.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit in this blank.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Verb. Learned.
Learn. Okay. Article of clothing.
Tights.
Another childhood toy that you like.
Gosh. You ask hard questions.
I'm sorry.
I'm drawing a blank. I'm going to say like a basketball.
Sure. All right. An adverb this time.
Now we're getting into hard stuff.
Yeah.
Adverb? Tell Brandon what an adverb is, and then I'll be learning it too.
It's a description of a verb. Yeah, Brandon, adverb. This is for you.
Description of a verb.
Yeah.
Like quickly or something like that, I guess.
I'm going to say swiftly. How about that? Yeah.
Okay. Another adjective. Brandon, adjective. This is for you, Brandon. Too many adjectives going on.
Yeah.
Be wonderful.
Wonderful. All right, and one more adjective, Michelle, and then something better.
Okay. Sweet.
Sweet. And then your favorite composer.
I'm going to say Strauss.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, let's see what happens with this Mad Lib now.
Thank God we're done with that. Okay.
Yeah, seriously. Too many adjectives. All right. This is called A Night at the Opera. Tonight was the premiere of the opera Pink Shih Tzu by the modern composer Julie. The opera began with the main character singing an adagio aria about losing her Chrissy doll. Then, a lovely wizard made his entrance. The two sang a happy duet about making the most of a jubilant situation. In the second act, a chorus of grandchildren sang a pretty song where it was discovered that the main character must learn her tights to make the missing basketball reappear. I don't understand that, but that's okay. She did so, and the missing toy magically came back. At the conclusion of the show, the audience applauded swiftly, so not very long. And one audience member commented, "This opera is wonderful, but it's not as sweet as Strauss's operas." There we go.
Aww.
There we go. So again, felt like a warm up for me reading that, and for everybody else, we feel nice and warmed up now. So to begin with our questions, I was reading through your bio and trying to research you and everything, and it says something interesting that you've played for Michael Buble and Sting, and I was just wondering if you could compare and contrast the experience of being in the Met and playing for them. So that sounds very different.
Totally different, yeah. It's a little more high pressure, I gotta say. Like especially like the Michael Buble thing. One of the things we did was Saturday Night Live, and it was we were backstage, like kind of far away. And, and the commercial break was like, get on stage, because they change it over to, those stages are tiny, and they change it over to, to us. And you get in, you sit down, you play, and it's like, you don't have a second to like, oh, well, I got to move my chair. Like, no, let's go, And then, it's live. So you can't screw up, or you shouldn't.
Right.
And anyway, so that kind of pressure is, I found at first like a little hard to adjust to. Sure. But I love that kind of music. I love pop music, Michael Buble, jazz, whatever, crooner type music. I loved playing with Sting. We did a similar thing on Good Morning America, I think it was, or one of those early morning shows. And same thing, like as soon as the camera goes, it's like, do your thing. And it was fun. And I guess my favorite part about it was I actually got the courage to speak to both of them. And because I played with them a few times, like the first time, of course, I didn't speak to them. I was too starstruck. But
afraid for sure.
Yeah. And eventually, like they were familiar with my face, and so I felt more comfortable speaking to them, and they're both really approachable, personable guys. Cool. And Sting had written a children's book years ago that my friend illustrated, and she had given it to me. So I brought the book, and he signed it for my grandkids.
Oh, that is awesome!
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Michael Buble was also very nice, and he wanted to get to know all of us, and came. We were having snacks or lunch or whatever. He would come and chat with us, and it was fun. Well, I want to do more.
So how does the opera contrast to that? I mean, like it seemed very personable experience, so maybe it's different in that way.
It's completely different, as you can imagine. I mean, it's we're in the pit, so it's a little less like, like the TV camera.
You can goof around a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, still stressful. Don't get me wrong. It's not a piece of cake playing in that pit. There's some hard music, and listening across the pit and the stage and coordinating all that stuff takes some getting used to for sure. But after I had been there 27 years and I retired, so I kind of figured out how to do it, I think, and got a little bit more comfortable. But there's still days where I was sweating it a bit, depending on what we were playing. And we were doing the live HD broadcast, and that was a similar feeling, like the high stress thing, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I miss it every day for sure. The Met.
Sure.
I think of it every day, honestly.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What's something specifically you think about? Is there like a memory that always pops into your head, or?
Well, there's lots of memories. You can imagine over that much time.
Of course,
you guys aren't even that old yet. 27 years, are you? No. Man. Anyway, I mean, it's like something will trigger a memory, or I'll hear, in a movie, I'll hear an opera theme. It's like, I remember when Domingo was singing that, and Javier and I, both got tears in our eyes, or that's the thing I listened to. I played, and Julie and I couldn't stop giggling, like that kind of stuff. Sure. Those kind of memories. So it's the music associated with my colleagues mostly.
Got you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, throughout those 27 years, like what you love about it, you obviously have the chance to play with your teacher. How was that experience? Both of you were the only girls in the section at the time, eventually being joined by others. And if so, what struggles were there within like the first initial years of being in that, being in the orchestra rather?
Well, the women thing for me wasn't a big deal. Mm-hmm. I know it was earlier, like when Julie first came on the scene, it was huge for her, and others, around that time. But they had kind of paved the way by the time I showed up. So I've never really felt that, the women brass player thing, other than like joking around. Like you can imagine some of the characters that I played with. I won't name names, but making jokes about it. You guys know probably who I'm talking about. But it was all in good fun, and
have an idea.
I was never ever offended by it or anything. It just those guys made me laugh, about it, and I mean, I think once they heard us playing, they would have shut up, if there was ever anything, because I think we did all right, So, I mean, luckily for me, it wasn't a thing, the women thing. The hardest part about, first coming to the Met is learning all the standard rep, because learning all the rep, but the standard rep in particular, they would rehearse less. So I had to do more homework because everybody else already knew it, And they say there's like a 7-year learning curve at the Met. Like once you've been there 7 years, then you've played most of the standard ones, and you just have to learn, the newer ones or the ones that we don't do quite as often. Mm-hmm. I still say we. I've been out 3.5 years.
No worries.
You're part of something. You can stay for as long as you want. Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious, going into an opera, like you're about to play a 3.5-hour opera or something like that, and is there any preparation beforehand mentally that you have to go through? I mean, warming up, obviously, maybe not, I don't know, but I'm just curious about your process of getting into the zone with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you ask some of my colleagues, they will probably talk about my focus. Like it was something that I had to work on because I'm a social person. I like chatting with everybody, and I found that was distracting at work at first. And the stage can also be distracting because from where I sat, you could see what was going on. So. Depending on the opera, there were times when I just had to be like, just rein it right in, right there, and do my thing. And even like if there's a big, 10-minute break, some people might leave the pit. I hardly ever did, because I felt like it just took me so long to get back in gear. And so that was something I definitely worked on, but that was right at the very beginning and just kind of stuck. Like I felt like that was the way I could do my best. So I was usually one of the first people there. There's a bassoonist, a bass player, that we'd all kind of be in the pit together at the beginning, just warming up and just, getting comfortable. And I think it was just like I'm always early to everything, and I just like to get there and get settled and get, ready to go, get my chops ready to go. Then I could work on like the focus thing. It wasn't like, okay, now I need to focus. It's just like, okay, I'm sitting in this chair where I sit every night, and here we go. It just was like automatic pilot at a certain point, but it involved getting there early and getting set.
Right. So no surprises. You want to eliminate all of that, and I see.
I certainly tried, but of course there were surprises.
Sure.
All the time.
I mean, it's a 3.5 hour thing. It's like there's gonna be something that happens that.
It's funny that you say 3.5 hours, because we say like a 3-hour night like La Boheme. We would jokingly call that a night off.
Oh.
3 hours seems short in opera world.
Sure.
Yeah, because Meistersinger is like 6.5 hours or something. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that correctly, but something like that.
Now, is there a? I know, for example, like in the symphony orchestra world, like some folks might take the day off if they have a concert of I don't know, something like Shasti 7 overnight, like an hour long symphony. Do you find yourself, or did you find yourself playing less on the days that you had like a 4.5 hour, 5 hour opera?
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it would depend on, if I had the rehearsal and then the show, I'd probably just do a light warm up, play a rehearsal of something else, not the show that night, and then not play, and then the show. But if I just had a 4.5 hour opera at night, I might play, an hour or something in the morning, and then, not again until the show. Yeah, it was always dependent upon what my schedule was that day. It was, especially with our hours, I had to be, I don't have the strongest chops ever in the world. So I had to be really, cognizant of what was going on, and save them when I needed to save them, and, make sure I'm really warmed up when I needed to be really warmed up, those kind of things. That was definitely thought out, on a daily basis.
Did you ever experience an injury? I mean, with all of these long performances?
No, I mean, not to the level of, like Colin and those guys who have really, really been through it. Just a little pain, a little like pinpoint stuff. I've told this story recently. I apologize if people are hearing it again, but like I have a big vat of Advil. I said have again. A big vat of Advil in my locker, and so like second intermission of a long show, sometimes there would be, Javier and so I'm mentioning him, I'm calling him out, sorry, but some of us would take Advil at the second intermission to make sure that our chops wouldn't swell, and I'd come home and I'd put ice on, just like the routine, but that's on the heavy, like Wagner nights, and when you have to play one Wagner opera one night and another one the next night, it's like you better work on your face, So yes, I never had an injury where I had to stop playing. Just a little pain.
Okay. Right. And what do you think you can attribute that to, other than the Advil? Like as you're practicing and preparing for being in the Met, I'm sure you've kind of taken your, become more efficient and all of that stuff. Was that a constant goal for you when you were practicing?
Still is.
Sure.
I'm a big proponent of ginormous breaths all the time. There's a few singers that I learned that from. Dmitri Hortzovsky is one of them. Just ginormous breaths, and then watching them, especially our angle, like Julie and I would talk about their support all the time. Look what they're doing with their belly. And, we would, try it, playing it on the horn. Like we really learned from them. And every little bit I learned seemed to help my endurance.
Sure. That's interesting too. I remember going through a phase of watching opera singers on YouTube, and they would talk about the head voice and the chest voice and all of that stuff. And I kind of started to conceptualize that on the trombone. Did you have any?
No, I don't know those things.
Okay. That's okay.
I just know what I heard, and watch them do, No, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. But no, I never really got into that kind of stuff. But I understand how that can help, especially when you're playing the high register, to think a little bit more floaty, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Kind of like up through your head instead of straight out, or when you're playing lower, I feel tightness. Like loosening up your throat and things like that helps.
Yeah, whatever works,
Yeah. I guess
so. Just out of curiosity, did you? I don't know if this is a reoccurring thing, but did you ever participate in the card games that would go on during intermission?
All the time, but no, I didn't. I would watch them sometimes. I found it entertaining, but no, I actually just learned how to play poker. Kind of, when I went to visit my parents in Texas.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And we played poker, my parents and my husband and I, a few nights. And I just learned how to play. So maybe I'll go back and play a game.
That's great.
I think they'd steal my money.
My parents and I play hearts all the time, so I understand that card games are very fun.
Yeah, it was
fun. Family. That's great.
So now that you've retired from the Met, what's your official focus right now, aside from teaching, I suppose?
Okay, I mean, the main reason I retired from the Met, well, number one, because I could. They had an early retirement thing, and I kind of was eyeballing it all along and just thinking, it's probably going to be time around then, because 27 years is a long time. But was to spend time with my family. And I have 4 grandchildren that I help take care of. Not so much lately because of the pandemic, but I was pretty active before all this hit with, getting them on the bus and picking them up from school and, that kind of stuff, which I love, and there were way too many times that I was missing my granddaughter's concert or, that kind of stuff because of the Met. So, I promised my oldest granddaughter, who's now 13, that, I won't miss anything ever again, and I hope I can stick to that. But so that's kind of the main goal. And then, spending time with my husband who, we saw each other in the 27 years, but it was often like I would leave in the morning and say goodbye and see him when he's sleeping when I get home, because I would drive to the city, play the rehearsal, teach lessons, play the show, come home. And, it worked. We've been married 30 years and we still love each other, but we kind of missed each other. So now, especially now, we see each other every day. And so family was my main reason for leaving. But then also, as you said, the teaching thing. And then I took the chairman job, brass chair, and I got to know you so well. And that's another love of mine. It's definitely something that I'm focused on and excited about.
Sure.
Now, when it comes to the teaching, you obviously have this very close relationship with all of your students, essentially dropping the Mrs. off of the label. Just curious.
That was my mother-in-law, Mrs. Baker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just curious as to where this, I guess, where this originated from. Was that kind of once you started teaching? Was that kind of instant rule, so to speak, or was it more of a gradual, loosening up, if you will?
Probably kind of instant. I mean, I had, Julie was my teacher, and Julie is definitely a person who, loves her students and, kind of takes care of them and protects them and encourages them. And so she was definitely a model for me. I had some other teachers that were a little bit more like, excuse me, just this hour, with occasional conversations in between the week, but mostly it was like the hour, which is fine. I mean, it was what I needed at the time or whatever. But then, kind of thinking about it as I was going into teaching, I preferred the kind where I had the constant, connection with the teacher. And also, when I was at Juilliard, I didn't really like the vibe in the horn studio. Let's put it that way. Except for Javier. Javier was the best. But, and a few others for sure. But I think basically I didn't feel the love. Let's put it that way. And we were very sort of scattered and didn't really even know each other all that well. And so, I want, we've had studio class all during the summer with all my students, and even my pre-college kids are involved, and the Montclair State kids are involved. And I just want them all to be encouraging each other and helping each other and being friends. And, I'm not going to force it on anybody, but, if the vibe is right, which it is now in my studio, I think it's a great thing to learn from each other and send each other videos and, that kind of stuff. So I kind of let them run it, and they're very good teachers. They're learning how to teach each other. And so, yeah, I think it's like, that all of that to say that, it sort of encourages, I think, a little bit more, I guess I'm not really their friend, but, friendly relationship more than teacher-student, I mean, I can be rough or aggressive when it's called for, but mostly it comes in a loving package. I mean, that's just sort of, I guess, my personality, but I just knew what I enjoyed, from Julie, and continued that forward. And I think I probably had told you, Brandon, I think you put it in the notes, that at first they called me Mama Baker when I first got to high school. that hasn't really happened. Julie used to call me Mrs. B, so a few of my students have called me Mrs. B. But yeah, I'm just Michelle. But they know, they have constant connection with me. They can text me, email me, my husband says maybe not after 11, but it still happens. And, I'm in constant communication with those who want it, and those who just want a little bit of it, or it's kind of just sort of run by them, what they need, what they want. And they're a big part of my focus now. So, and they know that. So, so I think it's just fostered by me, but probably it's just sort of like an instant thing.
So how do you, I'm curious how you go about trying to foster that kind of environment for an entire brass studio. I mean, you're talking about your French horn players, but how have you had conversations with other professionals to try to sway people to making the environment at MSM positive for the students and have them working together and things like that?
Well, as you're about to discover, we have these brass classes, which was, until I got there last year, Brass Lab was just for, if I remember right, I hope I'm saying this correctly, juniors, correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, juniors, seniors, and upperclassmen were the, grad students, junior, senior, grad students were in Brass Lab. And so their freshman and sophomore were left out, which I thought was odd. And it was all the instruments all the time together, if I remember correctly. And I just thought it would be good to have, again, to sort of foster the sort of family feel, to have trumpets meet every week. And also Ethan Bensdorf had started a trumpet class, just out of the kindness of his heart. It wasn't a course that I think he was doing every week with all the trumpets, not just his studio. And the kids loved it, and they were telling me about it. And so, all of that sort of morphed into trumpet class, horn class, little brass class. And so we have that instead of the Brass Lab thing I mentioned, and the freshmen and sophomores are now included. So that's when our master classes happen too. So when the guests come this year, it'll be at that time. And we have rotating faculty who come in. And I think just that sort of concept alone fosters the family feel. But then it was really sweet at the last, I guess after graduation, we had like a little party thing online, of course. And one of the students said to me, "Thank you, Michelle, because this brass department felt like a family this year." And this person didn't know that what I just said to you. She just said, it was Imani. She just said it, because she felt it. And I was like, I just got all teary-eyed. It's like, that's exactly what I was searching for, for this semester or for this year. I really wanted that for you guys. And somehow it was able to translate into being just on the computer. And I thought, the brass faculty is really into it as well. Like it's not just me. Like they're all contributing to that being a factor. And for that being a goal. And
right.
Without me saying, okay, now we will be a family. It's just like these classes sort of lend itself to that. Everybody gets to know each other, and I'm thrilled. I hope it continues to be a good thing, a good change.
Right. When was this party? I missed this party.
Brandon's always looking for a good party.
I am. I'm so sorry.
You left us. I'm sure I had told you about it though. It was just like maybe like right after graduation. I think that's what it was. There was like the virtual graduation, and then we left and we all came over to like a brass thing in my Zoom room, just hang out. And Ethan and I did a silly thing with, Ethan do his announcer voice, like, every person who graduated, and then I held up a card with their name, and, he was playing music in the background. It was really fun.
That's cool. Very nice.
That's hilarious. So continuing on the topic of students, as a brass head now, just curious as to what you look for now as brass department head. Doesn't have to be anything musical necessarily, just overall in general.
Well, I was really sad, like I said, that I wasn't able to go to all the auditions, because I got sick, because I wanted to, meet Sam and hear him play live and all that before he actually became a student in high school. So I think I came to one of the trombone days, maybe the OP audition days, and the horn days, and maybe that was it. That's all I could squeak out. But, in the future, I plan to be at all the auditions and be aware of everybody and like kind of get to know their personality. And, not that I'm really going to weigh in on trumpets and trombones and tubas and bass trombones who should be coming in, because that's not my call. That's the teacher's call. But just for my own benefit, just to know, oh, it's that person, they seemed friendly or, whatever. So I kind of pick up on vibes, especially at the horn auditions. The horn auditions, like we talk to them and try to get a feel for their personality. And some of them, actually quite a lot of them, I will have known in if they played for me ahead of time, or they went to Round Top Music Festival or something like that. So overall, I'd say kind of vibe, which is kind of a 70s kind of word, I think, but just a feel.
It's coming back. It's coming.
Is it? Okay. Phew. Just like a feel for, do I get a good feeling from this person? I mean, beyond just that they're playing, which I think is what you're asking me. It's more like a feel, and for my own studio, that would be the case. Like, is this somebody that I feel like I can work with? When I ask them a question, do they answer me by looking me right in the eyes, or are they off to the left or whatever? It's not my only requirement for picking a student. It's just like an added bonus, I really felt a connection with this person. And I can think of a few people right now that I felt that with right off the bat. So, and they turned out to be great students. So,
do you find that when you're teaching your students individually, you tend to kind of help them with their personality? So is there some kind of aspect to your teaching that addresses that sort of thing? Because that seems to be important in the professional community, like how to act in a professional situation, or how friendly to be, how not.
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered those things a little bit this last year in horn class. If I see somebody doing something odd, I might call them out privately. And that would be probably, I could think of a few things this past year that I spoke to people.
Brandon did? Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon. Exactly.
Come on, Brandon.
I'm sorry.
Exactly right.
I'm next. No worries, Brandon. We'll see what happens.
Or if I were to hear something from someone else, then I'd go observe it myself and then speak to that person. Nothing major. It just like little things, like little helpful things, like you say, for the future, to think like, hey, maybe don't play excerpts 20 times in a row when we're warming up or when we're tuning or, whatever. That kind of thing. Just like, things that you don't really know when you're younger, but if somebody tells you, then you stop doing it. So that's part of my job, is to teach, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily personality. Not necessarily personality.
Okay. Let them be them. I understand.
Of course, yes.
Asking this question in how do I put this? In a good way, I guess. Yeah. Okay. I guess. I'm trying to word it correctly, but so just curious what your plan, I guess. Yeah, plan with the brass studio is, if you want to take it in a certain direction, or yeah.
Well, this year in particular, I've reached out to some like European folks, that
that's
may
awesome.
not necessarily be able to come live, but we can see them virtually. And there's a few that I'm got my fingers crossed on that might be able to come. Yeah, so that's kind of exciting, different. I'm just in this format, I'm trying to come up with kind of new and different, exciting things.
Right.
I mean, this concept is so new, so I have to say I don't have like a specific plan just yet. I'm guided a lot by some of the faculty. Some of them are very vocal with me about, hey, this might be better, and let's try this, and and if we can, we do. It's not just the Michelle Baker show. I mean, it's like there's a lot of input from the other faculty. And I want to make them happy, that's part of the deal, and make it be something that they look forward to doing, these classes. And I think so far that's the case. Maybe they'll correct me, but once they hear this.
The emails are coming in right now.
Are there any chats in that Facebook thing? Like maybe somebody's saying...
There is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There is. I'm not sure if anybody said anything yet, though. We'll take care of that at the end.
I guess my goal is to have them feel comfortable sharing with me ideas and me implementing them. It's a community effort. It's not just me, like I said. And we'll see where it goes. I don't know. We'll see.
It's exciting. Into the unknown.
Yeah.
Into the unknown.
Sorry for that Disney reference, guys. I don't know.
Frozen, right? Frozen?
Yes.
Yeah, Frozen. Nice.
Wow.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I think if this wasn't on Facebook, I would sing that song.
I'll stop the live stream right now.
You don't want to hear it.
Nice. So continuing with teaching, I suppose, you obviously have this big passion for teaching the when you get down to it, teaching the next generation of brass players. How important is that for you, and how has that impacted you in any way?
Well, I mean, it's been nice to have that, like to go right from playing to the Met to like suddenly I'm able to spend more time focusing on that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's big for me. I mean, family's everything to me,
right.
and this stuff will definitely take second chair if, something's going on with my family.
Right.
All my students know it. I think all the brass guys knew it. Yeah, I mean, family's everything for me. And then, on top of that, adding this is like, so it enriches my life a lot. you know, and I love the interaction, you know, and the fact that you and I got to know each other so well this year, Brandon. I mean, that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't the brass chair, I don't think. You know?
Yeah, I knew you, but we never talked as much as we did this past year. Yeah.
And then I got to see you when I was playing with Orpheus and
hanging
out in the back. Yeah, that was cool. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a joy for me to do it, and I remember kind of being asked about it years and years and years ago, and I was like, no, because I'm thinking about like how much time I have at the Met, and you know, the teaching, and still trying to fit my family in somehow. But now I feel like I have the time to focus on it, and like I said, it's a joy.
So
that's awesome.
I'm wondering, how do you approach getting better at teaching? Because if there is a concerted effort, because I feel like a lot of people teach from experience or from the styles of their past teachers and things like that. You can grab a lot of different techniques and things like that. But have you like gone into other resources like books or teaching psychology and things like that to inform you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to learn all the time. There have been things that I've audited these past few months, like workshops and whatever, just to learn, you know,
Sure.
and take this from this person and that from that person. And I mean, I just taught a lesson before you guys, and I quoted other people like 4 times, you know, so it's not just me. Like I'm trying to learn from these other people. And then right now we have all these fabulous resources of people, you know, basically teaching virtually, a little blurb like Jim Markey. You know, I've seen some Paul Pollard stuff, you know, speaking you guys' language here a little bit. You know,
my mouth is watering.
And even Alessi, you know, he's posted a few things, and actually right before the pandemic, I think, he did a big event at Montclair State, and I went to the whole thing and just like, you know, ate it up. Like I want to learn from these people, and you know, it can be something similar to what I'm saying, but what I normally say, but just like a different twist, you know. And then I tell that to my students, and it's like suddenly there's a light bulb that wasn't there before. So yeah, I'm constantly, you know, trying to learn from other people and go to master classes and that kind of stuff. The ones that we have at school, I go and take notes, and you know, like Mike Sachs taught me a whole bunch about spinning the air and you know, that kind of stuff last year.
Right.
And I still quote some of those things today. You know, it sticks with me. So yeah, I mean, that's where I get my you know, my font of information is from those guys, you know, and now watching online. I had a little burnout from, like, I did a lot of it, and I had a little burnout, took a little break, and now I'm back into like watching a lot. So I'm enjoying it.
Right.
That's awesome.
It's so interesting to me, like a different verbiage, different phrasing, different words that you use can unlock something for you. I found that many times. So I totally agree with, like, different teachers just say it differently because they feel it differently, and different words have different meanings to them specifically. So
yeah. I mean, when I first started teaching when I was in Houston, I hated it. I taught. Sorry to any of those kids; they probably don't remember who I am. That I taught about 9 half-hour lessons every day. And I had to drive, like one place was like an hour and a half away, you know, but it was how I was paying my rent, you know. And these kids, nobody really wanted the lessons, or maybe like, you know, 2 people out of those 5 days, you know, wanted the lessons. Other people just wanted to eat M&Ms or, you know, whatever. So it was kind of like
my mouth
pulling
is
teeth.
watering again.
I'm with you. But anyway, so as soon as I came to New York, I said, that's it. I'm never teaching again. You know, I'll work in a coffee shop, or, you know, work in a Hallmark store or something, you know, but I'm not going to teach. And then it was many years later that the pre-college job came open at Juilliard, and Julie said, you know, you should go for this. And I'm talking about Julie Landsman for those who don't know. And she was my mentor. And you know, I was like, no, I don't want to teach anymore. You know, said the same thing I just said to you guys about the U of H time. And she said, just try it. and I did. And these kids really wanted lessons, and I loved it, like right from the get-go. And I remember my first few students, and I'm still in touch with them. And that was my sort of stepping stone into what's happening now. So
cool.
That's awesome.
So you needed some getting into it before it blossomed. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
Piggybacking off of what Sam said, I'm sure there have been times where attending all these master classes, or even just studying with different teachers, you get these moments where someone tells you one thing, but another teacher tells you something completely different. In writing these notes down and kind of establishing your own teaching philosophy, if you will, what have you done in those instances when you've learned two different philosophies?
So you're talking about like when I'm a student or when I'm a teacher?
Yeah, teaching now.
Teaching now, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's about my own playing, then I try both things, and maybe a little of this, a little of that, and there's my perfect formula.
Right.
I think, like I tell my students, like I feel like everything that I'm saying is 100% correct, but maybe you'll hear this little gem from somebody else, and you add it to what we're doing. It's like putting a little puzzle piece together, and everybody's got different pieces. So I think it's just sort of like living with it, trying it both ways. One of my students right now is trying something for 10 days. I won't go into the details, but 10 days. And then we're going to readdress it. Okay, did that work? Then let's try
That's
this.
Interesting.
If it didn't. Yeah. So at this time, like when school's not going on, you have the time and the you don't have to worry about playing an orchestra or whatever. So you can try, different things. It's just a little trial and error, and a little of this, a little of that, and you find your perfect formula. Then you repeat it, and teach your body how to do it. And so then the trust comes, then the confidence comes, then that helps your mental space.
Right.
So
I've never thought about that. Go ahead.
Sorry, you do land.
No, it's okay.
You do land on. Sorry. I need some silence here. You do land on something perfect for you then. Like there's a search for it and then you find it, or do you think that's continual but the things get smaller and smaller that you are honing in on?
Well, I would hope it would be the second thing you said, but that's not always the case. And there are different levels of perfect, it's like let's perfect this shift or lack of a shift, and fix that. All right, now let's fix this, and you feel comfortable, you trust this. It's not like, okay, I fixed that shift, now everything is perfect, No, now we have to, let's work on the high range, like having it be a little stronger or more secure or whatever. And you keep this over here still burning, still working on it every day, but then now you're working on the high register, and then once those feel good, you keep them burning, and now let's work on even sound in the middle register, or whatever the case may be. I'm making stuff up here, but, then, I'm 56 years old and I'm still like working on high register and some articulation stuff. Like there's still things that are on my list of things to perfect, I did a lecture many, many years ago at Sudi Purchase, and it was called The P Word. Perfect.
Perfect.
I'm not so sure, that any of us ever attain perfection. But, we just try, get closer and closer and closer. And, I think having little goals, like I was saying, like low register, the shift in the low register. Now let's work on this, rather than I suck at all three of these things. Now what do I do? Well, let's like hone in, like you said, to use your word, hone in here, hone in here, hone in here. Now put all the pieces together. And that takes time.
Yeah, I think the best metaphor that I've heard for this sort of idea is like, I think my teacher, Steve Lang, taught me this, where you're holding up a bunch of plates and you're spinning them and you don't want any of them to fall, so you keep spinning them, like the ones on your head and your shoulders and your hands and stuff. You just have to keep spinning them faster and faster so they don't fall off.
I love that. I'm gonna steal that.
There you go.
Thank you, Steve.
There we go. See, we're artists. We can steal whatever we want, right? That's
right. Especially these days, everybody's just putting it all out there. So
exactly.
So what originally inspired you to pursue music?
Well, I have 5 older brothers.
Okay.
And they were all really into sports. When I said basketball before, I was thinking about a toy of theirs because I never got a basketball. I didn't do sports.
The jealousy.
Well, a little bit. I mean, I wanted to play baseball or whatever. I think my parents and I were a little worried about me getting hurt, or whatever. A little bit clumsy to this day. But anyway, when I was 6, I started playing piano and taking from my friend's mom, and I loved it, and kind of did well. And I was learning theory, and I kind of just I felt like, okay, as much as you can feel when you're 6, but I felt like it was my passion, even back then. Music, like, okay, this is my outlet. So then when I was 12, I decided I wanted to be in band because when you grow up in Texas, band is everything. And, I wanted to be in that marching band, and I've gone to my brother's football games. I was like, I am going to be on that field, And
did that last the whole time? Did that last all of high school?
Yeah.
Wanting to be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
great.
I loved it.
Oh,
I loved
awesome.
it. I cried when marching band was over. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it was also a great band and a terrific and inspiring band director, Jack Ferris. He's the best. Even now, he's still inspiring people to this day. But let's see. So I wanted to play flute, and because all my friends were playing flute, especially my friend Robin, and I could not reach an octave on the piano at that time. And so you can't reach the octave key on a flute, so they said you can't play flute. So people have heard this also recently on another podcast, so I'll make it short. Basically, they had me pick horn because there had been a matching pitch test, and I had done well on that, so they thought I'd be good on the horn. And so that was 6th grade. Yeah, and I was good, right off the bat, without that much effort, and then maybe wanted to get better and better and better and better. And the rest is history.
Cool. And what keeps you coming back to music? That's
well,
the next
there are days when I have meetings, brass chair meetings, or school meetings, lessons, and maybe some family stuff or whatever, and I don't really get to practicing. Then the next day when I go to practice, I just missed it. I love playing melodies, and I'm looking at this new etude book I just got, written by James Nagus.
Whoa. Nice cover.
Shameless
cover.
Plug. Check it out on his
watering during this.
Sorry. Check it out on his website. You're welcome, James. There's just middle register, low register, nice melodies, different modalities. That's the theme of the etudes. Just sort of finding things like that. I just like playing the melodies. I'm not necessarily playing excerpts, those kind of things these days, except for when I'm demonstrating for my students. One of my goals is to learn Haydn Horn Concerto No. 2. Which I've never learned, and it's a low horn concerto. So at some point, once school gets going, I'm going to have the time to devote to that. So just my own little projects. My husband and I play. He plays trombone. We play some things together.
Nice.
And that's fun. And he's working on an arrangement of something. I won't spill the beans yet, but you may see that online at some point.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
we trombonists love to arrange things. I don't know. I've noticed that. It's like a community thing.
Yeah, I just when I don't play, I miss it. Let's put it that way. But at this point, the next gig I have is November 2021. Wow. So there's nothing pending.
2021.
Yeah. 2021. Yeah, Chamber Music Society.
Oh, nice.
I'm glad somebody scheduled something. So
yeah.
I know. Yeah. So I have nothing pending other than my own sort of fun projects, and I like playing with my students and that kind of stuff. So.
Sure.
That's awesome. Going back to something you said not too long ago about the etude book, you said that you spend a lot of your time now just playing through melodies, whether that be middle register, low register, and not a lot of time with excerpts. Is that something that is that something that you kept for a while, if I'm wording that correctly, because I feel like, admittingly, I'm guilty as charged on this, but I have this tendency to just hammer excerpts, just focus on that. No etudes, no solos, nothing whatsoever. So I'm just curious if that's always been kind of like philosophy of yours. Keep playing melodies, etudes on top of the required excerpts.
I'm retired, and you're still trying to get a job, so we have different focuses.
True. I'm sorry. I meant throughout your studies.
You're the one in the rehearsals playing those excerpts.
No, I am not. I promise. I promise.
Stop that,
I promise I am not. I promise I am not.
I mean, when I was, on the audition circuit, I was playing excerpts 5 hours a day,
okay.
But yeah, so I don't need to do it anymore. But let's say, the placement audition excerpt list came out for my high school at Montclair State. I've played through those excerpts, when I've been practicing, just so they're fresh, if I need to demonstrate something. But typically, no, I don't need to play excerpts anymore.
Okay.
There's an end in sight then. That's good.
Yes.
Nice. I'm sorry for the question. I'm sorry.
No.
Apologize.
Just needed clarification. That's all.
Awesome. Have you picked up any other interests? I suppose now with all this time that could even help you with your music making?
Well, since I'm home, all the time now, my husband is immunocompromised. I think that's the correct word.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't really go out, although last night we actually went out to eat to an outdoor restaurant. It was the first time since the pandemic hit.
Wow.
Which is nice. But, we try to keep him separate, and that's why I don't really see my grandkids all that much, although one of them stopped by today, which was awesome. I miss them terribly. But so I would have said before the pandemic, spending time with my grandkids, that's what inspires me, that's where my heart is. And that definitely follows into my playing. If your heart is happy, you're going to play better, I think. My opinion. But I think, since we're home, I'm cooking a lot and I'm enjoying that. As far as inspiring my playing, this Sunday, we have an online service, and I just heard that they're going to use a recording that I made of Amazing Grace.
Awesome.
So, I would have to say, not to get too religious or anything, but definitely I have a little bit more time to do some Bible study and some online, sessions and whatever, Bible study sessions, and just spending time reading scriptural things with my husband or whatever. All of that, again, is making my heart happy, which means that when I go to play, I'm definitely more inspired. And I remember where this gift is from. This is, of course, my way of thinking, not necessarily everyone's. But, however that translates to you guys, maybe exactly a translation. But if not, it's, people talk about the universe or just nature or whatever, but I think if we can remember, where this gift comes from, and make sure that we're not wasting it, that we're perfecting it, and that we're able to play from our heart. That's my absolute goal, is to play from my heart. And I have to say, sitting behind the screen at Met auditions, the people that do that, you hear it. You hear the expression, you hear their heart coming through their horn, and that's success in my book. You can miss a note here or there, but if I hear you playing from your heart, I'm happy, And that even translates to something like, let's say, Beethoven 7, the dreaded excerpt, for me anyway. Let's say somebody plays bum, 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 ba, bum, and then they go, and they miss the high B from above. I celebrate, because that's heart, that's energy, that's, whatever that is, going into playing this excerpt, and I dig it. I love that. I want them to hit the B, but if they miss it from above, that's they're fire. What I mean, the opposite, hitting it from below, it's not enough energy, necessarily. Conviction. That's the word I'm looking for. Conviction. wherever that comes from, wherever that source is for you, if you can fire it up and put it through your horn, that you can hear it. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You've heard people play that way. So that's a long answer to your question, and I kind of got off course, but
that's great.
It's great to be inspired, I think, like by anything. It really helps with art in general. So
I agree.
Are there any artists for you that do inspire that type of playing?
No. I don't really go. I mean, I'm looking at your beautiful painting behind you, Sam, and I love it. But I don't really go to like art museums. It's not my thing. Like, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I meant artists as in like string players or opera singers.
Okay, well that of course.
Not the visual artist. Come on, real art, real music.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. I mean, I would have to say, listening to my husband play every day. I mean, that guy plays from his heart all the time, and he'll warm up on hymn tunes and just beautiful melodies. And I remember when I played in All-Star Orchestra, listening to Chris Oka warm up backstage, and the same thing with hymn tunes and beautiful melodies, just like keeping it simple and listening to his beautiful sound and singing and enjoying what he's playing. Paul Pollard, every day at the Met, hymn tunes. He's playing like on his computer. I'm going to totally say this wrong. Please correct me, Paul. His computer had one line, and he was playing like a harmony part with that.
That's awesome.
Of a hymn tune, something like that. I hear him do crazy stuff like that. But it all stemmed from playing beautifully, and singing from the heart. Yeah, I mean, definitely those guys inspire me on a daily basis. When I saw Paul every day. And then Julie, of course, like that's one of her big things, is playing from the heart too. It's probably where I first learned it, how to do that. And I remember when I had to play 2 auditions at the Met. And the first one was for a 1-year position. And then during that year, I had to take the real audition, with everybody, all the 300 whatever people that showed up. And I was advanced to the semis, thank God. But in the final round, there's just 2 of us. And the last thing I had to play of I remember being about 40 minutes. Maybe that's been exaggerated over the years, I don't know. But it was long. And the last excerpt was Track 5. And, for a second horn position, which I found interesting. But I thought, okay, well, this is an opera orchestra. They listen to singers every day. And, and I had been doing it for that year, or half the year, I guess, by then. And had already been inspired by, Renee Fleming and, all those fabulous, Domingo probably more than most, because he's very passionate when he sings. And anyway, and then I was like, okay, this is it, and it's going to sound super cheesy, but I remember picturing like my heart going over the screen onto those 13 people who were listening, because I had been playing there and I knew probably that the 13 people were sitting back there, and I was like direct line to each one of them. And I just played and sang and had a good time and enjoyed what I was playing. And I don't know if this is true, but I feel like that was maybe what pushed me over the edge of the other person a little bit. But, just the freedom to feel that freedom to be that expressive. It was sort of like, at that moment, I said to myself, it doesn't even matter if I win or not, because I'm just really digging this,
Right.
And how often do we feel that when we're playing, like, whoa, I'm digging this, but at that moment I allowed myself to, and I, sent it to those people. And one of the guys who recently passed away, unfortunately, came out from behind the screen when I won, and he was crying. And he got it. Like I sent the message to he was one of the people I was sending it to, So those kind of things are, I want those moments, not necessarily for people to cry, but for people to feel what I'm feeling, as often as possible. That's why when you ask me about the tempo thing, that's why I would say adagio, because I feel like that's where I can get like the most expressive,
Yeah.
Enough space. That's so beautiful. Yeah. The communication aspect of music. I've heard about this kind of feeling before, like you're projecting something. Like you said, your heart. That's so interesting. It's like it's just an organ, but like the idea for you is there's a feeling and there's spirit behind it, and you're trying to get people to become in touch with that. And that's really
but I have to say, like, just to clarify that I couldn't feel that feel unless I had done all the prep work that I did, you know, all the repetition, all the stuff we were talking about before, like to feel comfortable. That comfortable took hours of, you know, prep, you know, Check 5. I mean, I think people can pick it up and play it, but to feel that comfortable, it took a lot for me to get that comfortable, you know, to feel that level of expression. Sure. And, you know, it doesn't come around all the time where I feel that feeling. I mean, I remember feeling it maybe last, I did a recital at Manhattan School. Brandon, were you there?
Was this last year? Okay, I'm sorry.
He was partying somewhere.
No, I
Excerpts and rehearsals.
I wasn't.
It was last year.
I'm so sorry.
I believe. I think it was in October last year, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I just picked all my favorite things to play with my favorite people. My husband played, Julie played, my friend Ryan, oboist, played, one of my friend pianists played, you know, and we just did pieces that I loved, you know, pieces that I thought I could really sing on. And I remember just feeling so comfortable there and feeling the nice vibe from the community there. And I was able to feel that same feeling I'm talking about I had at the Met audition.
Great.
That's awesome. Comparing it to, I guess, something else, would you say that playing from the heart, what we're talking about now, comes with pure confidence? Yeah, confidence into what you are playing, whether that be a solo, an etude, excerpt, anything? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's what I was talking about, like that prep thing, you know, that's all part of it, like the repetition. And I have this thing here I'm going to show you guys. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'm excited.
Oh, and
it's called,
abacus.
Abacus, yeah. It's called a Master It.
Oh, okay.
It's made by a friend of mine in Columbus, Ohio. And so these things move. So if you are working on like a 4-measure passage, let's say, or at the beginning of Check 5, da-da-da-da-da-dum, I play it the way I want it to sound, in tune, you know, smooth, subdivided, whatever. 1 time, 2 times, da-da-da-da-da. If I get to the 8th time and it sucks, then they all go back, you know, and not till I've done it 10 times, you know, and sometimes I'll even do it like twice if I'm preparing for something like the recital. Definitely use this thing and did it sometimes more than 10 times. You know, if you can repeat it 10 times the way you want it to sound, how is that not going to help your confidence level? You know?
Right.
And then 20 is even more. You know, it takes time. And like when I was preparing for the Met audition, I had just gotten married, and I was not cooking. I was not, you know, I was playing, you know, at the Met. I'm talking about the second Met audition. Okay. I was playing at the Met, and you know, so my husband and I basically decided, okay, you do you now, you know, for these few months. And he would leave me notes. And I found one of them recently. I wish I had it right in front of me to show you, but it just said, be kind to Mrs. Baker today, you know. It's just like a nice little love note he left for me. And so I mean, that's when, like, being married to a musician, they get it, you know. So anyway, I mean, I think it comes down to like the confidence, the trust, you know, comes from the repetition. I can't say that too many times, you know, and I say it all the time when I'm teaching. And that comes from, you know, time, subdivision, trusting the air, trusting the support, you know, making sure you're in touch with what your body needs, what you need, you know, and everybody's needs are different. I typically give my students like a framework, like try this, you know, and then they say, well, I tweaked this a little bit and it's better. Great, just do it all the time, you know, and make sure that happens all the time. And then the trust comes, and then the confidence comes, and then you're in that improved mental state.
Great.
That's great. That's all great.
Well, this has been awesome. We need to wrap things up with some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy!
But thank you so much for the both
yes, thank you.
of this podcast. It's been awesome. So
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
I don't know who wants.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Love to have you back on at some point too.
Yes.
We're just getting going, so
Right.
Lots of things to come.
Do you want to start first, Sam, or should I go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. If you could eliminate one opera from the face of the earth.
Norma.
Okay. Too easy. Didn't even have to think about it. Awesome. Okay. It's gone now. It's gone. We'll take care of that for
you. That's hilarious. Weirdest thing you've seen in someone else's home?
What? Oh, you know what? We did a little game at the party that you didn't come to, Brandon. Where everybody brought the weirdest thing, I guess, or the funniest thing to, like, I gave them 5 minutes or whatever to go, whatever it was, to go and find, like, the weirdest thing. There was, like, a trombone playing stuffed animal, or trumpet player, stuffed animal, toucan doll or something. It was really weird. So that's what came to mind. But I seem to remember that Alessi was there at the party that you weren't at, Brandon, and he had something funny. He had something funny too, but I can't remember what it was. He was like second place, but I can't remember what it was.
That's awesome.
That is funny.
You missed a lot at this party, Brandon.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
I don't think he'll be missing any more in the future.
Yeah, I won't miss any more.
All right, so maybe you already answered this, but we just want to clarify. Favorite opera singer of all time?
I guess Domingo, I have to say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's a little out of favor these days for various reasons, but still, if you go back and listen, it's like there's some passion in there.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I also love Dmitry Hortzovsky, who I also mentioned. He passed away recently, but he was... Check out both of those. Google both of them. I promise you won't be disappointed.
Hundreds of people are Googling that right now, so yes. Just because of this.
Awesome. All right. Hot dog. Is it a taco or a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a taco or a sandwich? Is that what you just asked me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Texas, so it's definitely not a taco. I know what a taco is. A hot dog is a sandwich.
All right. Awesome. I know there's a cube rule debate going around. I don't know if you've seen that, but
I have not seen.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll have to check it out. I'll Google that as soon as we're done.
And for the most important question of this entire podcast, and the last one that we will be asking. Pineapple on pizza. Do you like it?
Yes.
Wow. Hey.
Yes.
I just
finally.
Finally. When we were in Texas, we ordered from an individual pizza place, and mine had pineapple.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. All right.
That's amazing.
We were worried about what the answer was going to be.
We would have cut it off flat if you would have said no. So.
These are very important things.
Yes. Very important. Well, Michelle, thank you so much.
Yes,
for coming on
You're
here,
welcome.
For your time
thank
and
you.
for your insight and everything. And I look forward to working with you. Brandon won't be missing any of your parties anymore. So
whenever you come to Montreal, though, feel free to send me a message. Free poutine on my tab. Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
That is one of the places that I want to visit.
I don't
awesome.
Get free poutine.
Well, yeah, you too, Sam. You too. All right. Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.